We'll get started for tonight. If we can start with the land acknowledgement, please.
Halton, as we know it today, is rich in the history and modern. Halton, as we know it today, is rich in the history and modern traditions of many First Nations and the Métis. From the lands of the Anishinaabe to the Attawaderon, the Haudenosaunee, and the Métis, these lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in Indigenous history. As we gather today on these treaty lands, our Catholic social teachings call us in solidarity with our Indigenous brothers and sisters to honor and respect the four directions: lands, waters, plants, animals, and ancestors that walked before us. All these wonderful elements of creation exist, gifted to us by our Creator God. We acknowledge and thank the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation for being stewards of this traditional territory. And as we prepare for Lent, please join me in the sign of our faith. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Invite us deeper. Almighty and ever-living God, you invite us deeper into your world, your people, your Lent. May this time be one of outward focus, seeking you in those we often ignore. Help us live a Lent focused on freedom, generosity, and encounter. Give us hearts hungry to serve you and those who need what we have to give. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you very much. Okay, so moving on. So first up, we just have agenda. So if we can get a motion to approve the agenda, please. Or sorry, rather, any changes to the agenda, changes or amendments, whatever, because I actually have one.
Yeah, I was just going to one.
Yep. So what I want to add is, I guess it would be probably 2.2.1 is going to be the reasonable place to put it. We should just be discussing the timeline for elections next year. Makes sense to do it after the Burlington vacancy?
I think a discussion item is probably.
Or put it under discussion item? Okay. Or,
so,
yeah, so we'll just add that to the discussion item instead. So CPIC elections for next year. And also to remove current item 6.1 from the agenda, which was Jerry's item. Since he's not here. So can I get a motion to approve the amended agenda? For motion from Ada and second from Janelle. Okay, and anybody opposed? Cool. Okay, so next item, Burlington representative vacancy. So I think everybody here already knows that our new member, Cassie, for personal reasons, has had to step away. So as a committee, we need to decide what to do with the open seats. So just a reminder from what we discussed at the December meeting, we have the option to either just leave it vacant for the remainder of the term, and that seat is in its second year. So that seat would be vacant from June anyway, or we can repeat the whole process that we did in December to try to fill the seat for the 3 months of the school year. So I'll open that up to discussion for anybody who wants to weigh in an opinion, and then we just need to do a vote on it.
I would suggest that we leave it open. I think it will be too confusing. We're going to be putting out an email in the next month or so for actual seats opening up, in addition to just this one for a couple of months. So that would be my vote.
I guess it's a comment. The committee that she left, are they able to do their task without the extra hands? And would they? So that's a comment that I have.
So that's your committee. That's the one that you're on. She was on the parent engagement committee. Yeah, so based on the email, the update that I think is coming from Cherish later, I think that committee is pretty well sorted for the remainder of the year. Okay, so if we just do it, yeah.
I'll make a motion to leave the seat vacant, please.
Okay, so can I get a mover for that motion? Janelle, and a second, Emily. And is anybody opposed to leaving the seat vacant for the remainder of the year? Nope. Okay, that passes unanimously. Perfect. Okay, so moving on to item 2.3, the minutes from the previous meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting? Okay, second, first from Jen and a seconder, please, from Ada. Anybody opposed to the minutes? Nope, beautiful. Okay. Okay, and so just moving on to item 3 then, board update. Nancy.
Thanks, Lauren. Good evening, everyone. It's hard to believe we're already in February. I mean, February, almost at March now. Okay, so under the achieving pillar, semester 2 in secondary began last Monday. Parents should have received the semester 1 reports today. If not tomorrow, all semester 1 reports should be home. Students are adjusting to their new school routine with their new courses and the new staff that are teaching them. In elementary, term 2 began last week. Term 1 reports will be sent home, staggered, released to parents during the day, February 14th, 15th, and 16th. The schools have already communicated to their community about the electronic distribution through IT services, but some schools, together with their Catholic School Council, still provide paper copies to their community, and we're leaving it up to the school. Centrally, it's electronic, but if a school community has decided with their council to do paper, they're doing it, okay? This Friday is another professional development day. It is a provincial priority day. Parents did receive the communication as we are expected to do as part of the regulation 2 weeks before the event. Both elementary and secondary are in-person events at the school, so staff will be at school on Friday to do the PD. There's some staff in the buildings that will be moving around depending on their, if they teach a specific program, they might be off-site in a school. Okay, so the focus for elementary is reviewing the student achievement plan goals and examining data that they have from EQAO, term 1 reporting in the school climate survey. The educators will also have more time to explore Knowledge Hook. It's one of our math resources that we're doing together with Superintendent Skripek. And so he's doing a session with the educators on that, and then they're reviewing the new language curriculum. For grade 7 and 8 teachers, there's a focus on the mental health literacy and action lessons that must be taught in all grade 7 and 8 classrooms. Our French as a second language group is going off-site, so all the French teachers will be together to do subject-specific professional development. And we also have our kindergarten teachers also. They will be at school, but they will have sessions specifically for kindergarten. For our secondary, they will be reviewing their student achievement plans and explore strategies and interventions to take place to support the educators in meeting the needs of their students. And then they will also be working collaboratively, this is in the afternoon, to review credit accumulation rates and student success data. And they will create departmental goals by each of the subjects to reflect the student achievement plan. Under the believing pillar, on with Ash Wednesday this week, all schools will have a liturgy or mass participating in the distribution of ashes to students, staff, and parents where possible. As we begin the season of Lent, each community does have community outreach initiatives by school that they have identified with their students and Catholic school councils. Many schools continue to support St. Vincent de Paul, the Halton Children's Education Foundation, and other families in their community who have a need. We have a new family life education document that has been developed by ICE, so the Institute for Catholic Education. One of the authors is our own Patricia Delben, who is our religion and family life consultant. This document, I have a copy of it here, will be rolled out to the trustees and to staff in the upcoming weeks. It's a beautiful new document. So very proud of her work, but also that we have this new resource for our schools. Under the belonging pillar, school climate data. So Dr. Collymore will be presenting at Council of Chairs next week, and her team has created individual school data infographics that mirror the board results. So the board results are already posted on the website, and each school is going to get their own school data, which is going to be able to, so the parents can compare to the school, to the board. Having said that, Dr. Collymore is very specific that we shouldn't be comparing school to school. It really is, each school needs to reflect on their own data. Yes, you want to compare it to the board data. How does your school fare to that? But it's about each school and how they're going to use that data to inform their student achievement plan and make some recommendations. Registrations for 24-25 academic school year are all taking place right now and will continue to be open right up until the fall. We will have 3 new elementary schools opening in September: North Oakville 4, Milton 9 and 10, and students will move into finally St. Kateria, the new building in Milton. We will begin the naming of school process. That's policy I-15, school name selection. So next week at the board meeting, that policy will be outlined, and then those processes for those 3 new schools will begin to go through the naming process. All schools are celebrating Black History Month with a variety of activities highlighting the contributions and success stories of many Black Canadians. Some schools highlight initiatives each month and share their work through February. Our Human Rights and Equity Office is gathering all the initiatives in our schools and will be posting this information to their space on the board's website. Many initiatives will also continue throughout the year. We had our first Black Student Symposium at Notre Dame High School in Burlington last Thursday. This event was led by Black students and staff and from Black community organizations. So it was a great event. I know there were some images posted on X and other social media platforms. It was a great event. For our new kindergarten families, we will be having our Ready, Set, Go presentations in each of the municipalities before March break. The first one is tomorrow in Halton Hills. Okay. And our special education team has the open house for the new kindergarten students if they have disabilities. Families will be able to come into a school, look at the transition plans, and meet with the special education staff. And that's the first week of March. At the board meeting next week, the action report will be presented about the school year calendar for 24-25. And thank you to Janelle for being the CPIC representative on the school year calendar committee. Okay, so following that board meeting, communication will go out to parents on the 21st. We'll submit to the ministry. It will be pending ministry approval, but know that parents will have that information by next Wednesday. We also have our 2S LGBTQIA+ steering committee, which has a subcommittee that is planning a parent engagement session for families who are part of the community or have children who are part of the community. They will be having an evening event at the end of May at Corpus Christi High School. We've got staff who will be part of it and community members who will be part of that planning for that session. Okay. This week we have our CPIC parent engagement session led by Judy Bridges. This will be a virtual session, and the focus will be on graduation requirements for your OSSD diploma, the course selection process on My Blueprint, course planning to ensure that course selection aligns with post-secondary goals, e-learning opportunities for the 24-25 school year, the grade 11 pathways programs, the youth apprenticeship programs, and the high skills major programs that are available in all the high schools, and the conversation around community hours that the students have to do. As of today, we have over 800, Andrea, parents registered for that event. It's a virtual event, and it's obviously something that parents want. And so I'm thrilled that CPIC has put this forward, and we have a great team of people presenting. Any questions?
I just had a quick question for Milton 9 and 10. Are they both opening in September?
Yes.
So St. Kateria will be open in September. Wow, that's ahead of schedule. That's good.
Well, we've communicated that already.
Okay.
And so Kateria's the one that we have to push.
Yeah.
Right. 9 and 10 will definitely, well, 10
They're already in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a plan. So there's a plan. 10 the students in 10 will stay at Scholastica, because if we move them out over the summer, right? Getting all the secondary furniture and all that out.
Yeah.
We'll need some time in September, so it may not be till Thanksgiving that they actually move.
Okay.
Milton 10 into the building.
Okay. So it gives you some leeway then, I guess, if they're running behind to keep.
We've had good weather.
I know, and they've been, believe me, I'd go drive by there every day. They're working on it all like 7 days a week.
Yes,
They are. That's great.
Nancy, going back to the 3 schools that are opening for September and the naming committee, who comprises that committee, and is there any opportunity for parents to have input?
So the process for that, so once the school is established, and in the term of the established meaning that they have a principal, okay? And so we're hoping that will be announced next week as well. Then what comes up is the committee is comprised of trustees, family school superintendent for the naming, okay? However, parents in the community get to put the names. Parents, students, staff get to put names forward. Then they bring it to the committee, and then the committee narrows it down. Then it goes out to a community vote. Okay, so it is decided by the community. Community members can, so for example, Oakville 4, parents could put names forward. The committee will then narrow it down to the 4 or 5 names, and then they'll put it out back to the community. It's that community who votes. Then those votes go in, and then they bring 2 names forward to the Board of Trustees, and then they present those to the bishop.
Is the process changing yet? Because I was on the secretariat that was made up of the superintendent, trustee, the principal, myself as a parent representative for the community, and then the priest. The local priest.
Yeah.
So would there still be one parent rep and a principal?
It will.
Okay.
But for it to start, they invite suggestions for the names
Okay.
to the community. So it goes out to the parents and the students.
It's the first step.
That's the first step. Okay. Then that committee takes those names and narrows it down to go out for the vote.
The parent rep one of us, or is it just anybody?
That community, that school community, not CPIC, doesn't have a role. Okay, he does. Yeah. Yeah. And he's going to have to decide on 3. Which is pretty exciting, right? To have 3 schools open. Yeah.
The 2, 9, and 10 fall the same dividing line in Milton too in terms of parish.
They're both St. Benedict.
They're both same.
Benedict. It's just that Milton 10 will go to Kateri and Milton 9 will go to St. FX. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. And moving over to Marvin for the trustee update.
Thank you. Good evening. Since the last CPIC meeting, we had 2 board meetings, one on Jan 16th and one on Feb 6th. At the Jan 16th board meeting, we had a staff presentation on the renewed STEM strategy with an updated roadmap and goals for 2023 to 2026. Our STEM strategy is paying big dividends, and students and staff have enthusiastically bought in and participation across all grades, right from JK all the way to grade 12. So we are doing extremely well with STEAM. So you have also heard from me at the last meeting about our final multi-year strategic plan that was presented to the Board of Trustees at the last board meeting, which was an action item, and it was unanimously adopted. It has been my pleasure as chair of that committee to help bring this to fruition. And now we have 4 pillars. One is achieving, believing, belonging, and becoming. And all the 4 pillars revolve around keeping Christ at the center of everything we do at HCDSB. Staff will now take this multi-year strategic plan and operationalize it, and we all will hear a little more about it in the months to come. It will filter down to schools, school councils, and parents, and so on, all the committees that we have into the community. At the same board meeting, there was an action item to approve a change of date for the April PA Day. We heard about that, and that unanimously passed. There was another action item at the same board meeting, which arose from a notice of motion to require the Director of Education to provide all emails and a written correspondence from the ministry pertaining to non-compliance of the 2022-23 budget to all the trustees of the Halton Catholic District School Board, and that did not pass. Some policies of interest that passed at this board meeting are policy I-04, cross-boundary school attendance, policy II-12, management of student behaviors posing imminent physical risk, policy II-41, school uniform dress code, policy II-48, violent threat risk assessment. The February 6th board meeting was a very short meeting. We had information item, the 2024-25 school calendar year was presented at that meeting, and it will be an action item at the next board meeting. And there was an information item on OCSTA resolutions. Now, what are these resolutions? These resolutions are something that trustees have put together along with staff. And these resolutions always petition the ministry for funding. We know that we have funding shortages in various areas. Could be transportation, could be sick leave or whatever. And so the trustees have put together 4 resolutions. Last year, we had great success with resolutions. So what happens when trustees put forth resolutions to the ministry through OCSTA, you cannot petition the ministry for funding. And we're petitioning not only for funding for our board, but we're petitioning for funding for all boards across Ontario. Last year we had great success, and so this year trustees have put forth 4 resolutions, and we hope that these resolutions will help get more funding for our board as well as other board. And that's all my report. Happy to answer any questions if you have.
Robert, I was just curious because I haven't actually listened to that board meeting. The policy change on cross-boundary, were there any significant changes to the current policy on that?
No, we did not have any change. So it's just a review.
An update? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we don't have Denise tonight for OAPC update, so I think we'll
Hello, yes, I am.
online.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So in terms of OAPC and what's going on, there's been quite a bit going on. We had a virtual meeting on Thursday, February the 8th, which was very well attended for our OAPC reps. We were part of a larger group in terms of the province, joined by some other regions as well. Interesting to note, it was a special presentation by Anthony Parada, who's a principal and educator in Dufferin Peel. But the topic was something that the parents were very interested in. It was called The Parents' Insight, Exploring the Benefits and Drawbacks of ChatGPT and AI Technology. I think there was about 85 participants on in terms of OAPC reps, but a very, very impactful presentation, something that I think that even might be important for us to consider as a topic going forward. A lot of great feedback. Anthony was he was in Toronto Catholic before he moved to Dufferin Peel as a principal, but he was involved in their tech. I'm not sure, a consultant, I think, at the board too. Anyways, a great topic and something that I know would be something going forward that might be of interest for Halton Catholic as well. As far as the rest of the report, I've been busy sending email updates to representatives, our WAPC representatives, responding to their emails and inquiries. Working with the executive director on the upcoming conference in OAPC that I'll talk about, writing pieces for the OAPC newsletter. One of the important parts of sort of my report tonight is to announce that as part of the conference, Carl Subban, the father of PK Subban, will be our guest speaker at the upcoming conference. And the conference and the mass will be held at Monsignor Percy Johnson Catholic High School in Toronto. It'll be led by His Grace Archbishop Leo. And a lot of other speakers during that day, including Dr. Ann Jameson of ICE. And that, because it is a signature conference in terms of the OAPC itself, there will be a gala dinner and awards as well that evening. So I think it's sort of, we've been updating our OAPC reps on the 85th conference on April 13th. So we're encouraging parents, and it doesn't have to be just OAPC reps, it can be parents from across the province, to go to the OAPC website, visit it, and to register for the conference. I believe it's coming, the registration should be open fairly soon. I don't have the pricing. I know they're in another meeting tonight talking about that. And the other thing that we've been talking about with our OAPC reps is to share the Parents for Parents Press again with their school councils, sharing the Catholic Register article in which OAPC was featured, and the parent survey, which is still open. So that's other business has been in hand. I attended the board of directors meeting last weekend on February 10th. And during that meeting, there was a lot discussed, and in terms of myself, a re-election to the position of chair once more. And I think that's it.
Thank you very much, Denise. Does anybody have any questions for Denise? Oh, perfect. Okay, so moving on to Denise. So I'll start with school council for Janelle and Emily.
So we had our second Let's Connect session on the 31st. Yeah. It was highly engaging. There was a lot of great discussions. We covered successful fundraisers, challenges within our school councils. We went over bylaws and council. I said that already. We discussed events for Black History Month and inclusion. There was, I think, around 15 participants, and everybody really kind of was engaged and provided feedback, and it was a great session. Afterwards on the session, Nancy and I discussed just some of the challenges that we have that we've seen within councils. And one of them was we really discussed kind of resources with fundraising and what schools are doing. Sorry. So we've discussed with our subcommittee, and this was something I think we talked about very early on this year, just implementing like a resource database. With that, this is, I'm going to share my screen so I can show you. Our subcommittee has worked on kind of coming up with a platform, so to speak, and this is just as a mock-up, where councils can access just this toolkit that has a bunch of different resources on it. And rather than me kind of talk about it, I am going to show you what we've come out with. So here, this is just a basic website that I worked on over the weekend.
Just whipped it up.
It's not that hard. So basically what it is, it's our toolkit. So I'm just going to go through the pages because there's a couple different functions that have that I've kind of put together. So this is just the home page. There's just different kind of information on the bottom there. Not that it's not important, but I'm not going to go over it. Yes. This is our kind of about page. It just talks about CPIC. It talks about who we are, you know, what our missions are, what we do. And then it just has a list of our current members. All right. And I added a events page. So these are upcoming events that CPIC is hosting. Within it, it's just a little blurb about the event, where it is, it's virtual. Now, there's an RSVP here. None of this stuff is linked. Is it possible to do that? Yes, provided we wanted to do that. So those are just the two events that I've added in here. And then this is kind of the main part. So this is our resource toolkit database, however you want to call it. And within this site, or within this kind of page, there's a few sub pages. So this page here is just different fundraisers. So what I had envisioned is we have what schools are doing for fundraising. So here there's Purdy's Chocolate, there's Laura Secord. You can read more about what they do. We could implement links. I left them off because there's a lot of, we're not sure about certain things, but it's just the information's here. Again, there's a lot more that you can do with it. This is we've used uniform sales. So this is just a blurb of what we've done basically at Corpus to do fundraisings. And again, there's other options, poinsettias, cookie dough, popcorn, dance-a-thon, everything's here. Again, this is just a short list. There is the ability to add in plenty more, right? Next, I have a section for pro-grant speakers. And it's not necessarily has to be pro-grant. This is just what we've used on CPIC. And again, it just gives a little blurb and just the information of what the different speakers have done and how it's laid out. We could add contact information there if we wanted to. It's that all that stuff is possible, but it's just a general overall look here. Some pages I have not really put anything on. So these are kind of just placeholders. This would be like a community event. Like this is if a school is doing something that's opened up to the community, we could have that there. We could put it in the event page. I just put it in there for now. This page here is, where am I in? Oh, vendor contacts. So within this site, again, this is all just placeholders. So this, we could have different sections for, let's say you're looking for a food truck vendor. We could have this here would be linked to the list of vendors that, you know, board approved or however we want to do it. The next one could be, you know, entertainment, magicians, whatever. So there's a lot of options here with how we can source or store the data. And my last one is this one's ideas. So this was just different ideas for councils to allocate their funds. So you've raised all this money, now what? And then we have this information, obviously, we get it for the end of the year reports. And it's just, you know, uploading that information so other schools can get different ideas. So whether they're approving schoolyards, just for example, for Corpus, we did department pitches. So we did the Dragon's Den pitch. They submitted their pitch and whatever the initiative was, they had, you know, X amount of funds to spend within their group or club. And that was a really successful thing that we have done. Whether it's, you know, speaker events for students or school initiatives, these are just kind of all the ideas that our other schools are doing. And that was that for that page. The last couple pages here are just a contact form. And then this is my favorite part. So this part of the website would be like members only. It would have ideally like a login. You have to register. It would get approved by whoever on us on CPIC. And within this group, there's I think it's the same. There is a discussion form for somebody to type. They have a question. There is, I just, again, placeholder stuff. This is a social media icon that we used for when we were collecting donations for Uniforcio. And here we have, again, I have a section for where I've shared some media for Facebook or Instagram, whatever. And then there is a file section. So these are just, again, these are just what I've used and created for Corvus. This is our Dragon's Den. Oh, I don't think you can see it. Hold on, let me get back in here. My teams. I lost it. Hold on, I'm gonna go back. It's window, right? Okay. So here is our, can you still see this? Paint teams. Entire screen. Okay. Got it. Okay. So this is just a file that I created for our Dragon's Den department pitches. This is a letter that we put out to teachers and our student groups. This is the application that they submit. It's all done on a Google form, but this is just an overall kind of outline of how we've done that. But all of this information I've just shared in that files section. So you go back here, and again, this is our, you're gonna make fun of me here. This is our SOP for our uniform sales. This is corporate Emily coming out, and this is just what I've put together, how we collect donated items, how many volunteers we need for the sale, items that we need for the sale, setting up, pricing. All of this information is here so other councils could access and implement in their own schools. It's done. I know I'm not the first person to put together, you know, a document for something, but now everybody has that resource to share if they want. So that is the kind of overall look of how I envisioned it. We envisioned it to kind of set it up. Again, there's our current members of our group. And yeah, that's kind of what we put together.
Awesome. We've talked about doing this toolkit idea for councils for the last year or so. So it's like really fun to see this kind of actually taking some shape and getting an idea of how we can actually roll it out and make it happen instead of it just being conceptual. So that's awesome.
Emily, thank you, because we literally had a conversation last week and I said, Andrew and I cannot set up a toolkit, and like, boom, you went and set up a toolkit. And thank you, because it's just about putting it all in one space. Okay. Two things that I do want to go through is first understanding what platform that is. Okay. So that maybe I'll do that with you together with our privacy person, just so that we keep our stuff tight. Right.
Yeah.
And then just even maybe to have communications involved just around graphics and things like that, because we're going to have something that's going out to other people in the community. We want to make sure that it's vetted through just in terms of images and things like that. So it's inclusive.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is just, it's not really linked to anything. I have my own Wix account. So that's where it is right now. I did make it just live for this, but I mean, I can set the privacy so nobody can really access it. But yeah,
This is going to do have you on contract next year, or you're coming back as a community?
I'm back next year. I'm
Okay,
still
okay,
here.
Perfect. Okay.
I'm still here.
Let's talk about succession planning.
You know what? I just built this on Wix. It's a very user friendly. Anybody with a basic kind of, well, hopefully technology background could maintain it. It's not that hard. I literally learned it in like a few months to build a website.
I just had a thought, just making sure that we have a sustainment plan for it. This is amazing. So but where it falls is if we don't continue to have it as part of a sustainment plan. Yeah. But just moving forward, it's being part of something and just dating things, and so that way things get removed and added, and it's just because we see these beautiful things being built, and you see it even in the corporate world, and they just fall apart when they're not being sustained. Yeah. So it's amazing, and I can imagine even with the what's up with the school boards that we're seeing, they're constantly asking for, like, does anybody have this? Does anybody have that? And this is exactly what they would need.
And the thing is, like, the ease of updating, and I know you're like, oh, if you don't know, but it's not that difficult. Right. You can update, like, they're called repeaters, but when I have all the fundraisers, you can update that within a spreadsheet and just upload it, and then it populates it. Like, it's easy. And again, if you need somebody to maintain it or whatever, or we can put that on the responsibility of CPIC. I don't know what your plan is, but those are all things that the roadblocks that we can overcome. I think it's easy enough to do.
No, I just want to say it was amazing. Being on the school council board we're always looking for ideas like that. And if every school council can have that access is top notch. And the only thing I'll ask if you can connect with Nancy for all the activities that we have, so we can all have it updated, so people know, okay, so CPIC is doing this or doing that. But that's wonderful.
Nothing's live yet. Like this was
I know. I'm just saying when it happens. So that
this was just like, I'm going to put a couple things together just so you can see the overall look of how it could work. And then everything else, yeah.
Amazing.
I'm happy to.
And you did it over the weekend, huh?
I literally started after our call.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just think our next steps are really putting out the ask of councils to give us their knowledge and their expertise on, one, what they would like to see, but also what's in their own toolkit that they can share to add to this toolkit so that it's a universal toolkit. So I think that's our next step, is gathering all the info and then organizing it and putting it where it needs to go. So.
Is the goal of May council chairs to share?
I can have some, yeah, I think that's doable. When's the next one?
Oh, May.
May, for May.
Oh, to
council-
roll it
yeah,
out.
To May council.
Yeah,
chairs.
because we're okay to do a quick brief up and coming,
Yes.
look what's here. But yes, that's
next week, if you
doable,
wanted-
that's doable
yeah,
for May.
Yeah.
Providing you give me data to put on.
But I mean, just as an option, just to throw this out. So for the rest of you guys who don't know, we had Janelle and Emily kind of pitched this to Nancy last week. So we kind of started this a little bit. But we talked about what we could do at the next Council of Chairs. We could either show this same one that we've done or a pared down version, or just talk to it generally. But we had, Andrea, we talked about this as well, was to look at having just like a form or something and actually getting the parents while we have them in that thing to say, like, here's what we're building. Here's what the goal is. Tell us what else you would like us to include on it, and get them to fill, even if it's just MS forms or if we can get Teams polls to work or whatever the case is, just like to get it from them while we have them captive audience, to kind of take advantage of that and try to engage them a little bit. So we're also not just talking at them the whole time. But we had talked about doing that as an option. I don't know if that's still possible, if you want to try to go down that route.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. And I think, yeah, just in terms of gathering data, we talked briefly, we have the program, we have what schools are doing for that. We have, last year's year-end reports. If that information is available for CPIC to view, I could really utilize that and see how we can put it together. Awesome.
I mean, depending on how much time we have, I don't know if our time would be better spent speaking to it, not necessarily showing them what it'll look like, but asking them, what would you like to see? Some ideas, and then maybe that will help shape sort of the survey or the ask that we then send out to councils to say, at your next council meeting or via an email or however you guys want to gather, fill this out in greater detail. Because I don't know that we're going to get all the meat and potatoes within a 15-minute time slot during Council of Chairs. But I think if we speak to it, tell them that this is being built, our plan is to bring the final product and demonstrate it in May, but in the meantime, help us decide what's important to go on it, and then let them know that there's going to be something that we would like them to follow up with as well.
Okay. All right. So that was awesome. And anything else from your side of things? I think you pretty well covered it. like really conclusively. Okay, so then moving on to parent and community engagement. Ada, I think that's on you today.
Yes, Cherish is not here. We had a debrief on a subcommittee on February 6th, and so we came up with a few things. So we have some upcoming events. We have a few virtual, we have a virtual pathway presentation this Thursday, February 15th, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. And she talked about it. As of then, it was 785, and you say we have about 800, right? Over 800. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I saw that last time. So parents really love that. So I hope you guys here will be able to attend as well. And we also have another presentation on mathematics. And we have the speaker, Superintendent of Mathematics, Michael Stripik. So what we're talking about, change in timing for elementary and secondary presentation. It will be a virtual presentation and it will be pre-match break, and it's scheduled on Wednesday, March 6th from 7 to 8:30, and I'll be doing the introduction and closing of the event. And after that, we have another elementary in-person presentation that will be after match break. It's scheduled on Thursday, March 21st from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at Our Lady of Fatima Elementary School in Milton, and Edosa will be doing the introduction and closing of the event. And on Thursday, May 2nd, we have a virtual presentation on substance abuse, and it's been rescheduled for May 2nd from 8 to 8:30 p.m. And the Halton Healthcare Nurse and Superintendent Corderio will be presenting, and Janelle will be doing the introduction and closing of the event. And our last one is the Volunteer of the Year's Award Planning, and that will be at that'll be presented at the May Council of Chairs meeting on May 22nd. And we decided that will be this time we're going to forego the flags and do printing of certificates, and we'll give a small gift, the $25 gift card and flowers. And we want to increase awareness of the Volunteer of the Year Award to encourage nominations, promote via social media channels, and compare numbers from last year to see, if we're up or down this year. So timeline, week of March 4th, we're going to email the community re-nominations for Volunteer of the Year Award. Week of March 25th, we'll send a reminder email to go out. And week of Friday, April 5th, my birthday. Sorry, nominations are due. And week of April 15th is Parent Engagement Subcommittee receives nominations for review. So meeting to select 2 or 3 candidates per family of school by April 26th. And week of April 29th, we're going to distribute the 2 or 3 candidates per family of schools to CPIC. And May 6th, CPIC members will select the winners in each family of schools. And May 22nd, we'll present the awards at the Council of Chairs. And then 2024 to 2025 CPIC speaker events topics. These are possible topics that we're thinking about. One is cyber safety, mental health, pathway presentation, which everybody seems to like, offering to grade 7s and 8, health and wellness topics such as the importance of sleep, healthy eating, and ingredients in products, and AI future of jobs, AI in the classrooms, talk to parents on the safety of machine learning. So these are possible topics. And if you guys have some ideas, you can share with us. And this is what we have. Thank you.
That sounds awesome. I love the AI stuff in particular, but I'm a nerd, so. I had one thought. I don't know. I'm not even necessarily suggesting this as something to do, but just with the pathways, because we've had so much interest in it. Thank you. I'm short-circuiting today. I don't know if it's possible to maybe look at doing one like by family of school. Like, I don't know, that might be too difficult to run 11 of them, but I don't know if that's maybe one way we try to still do it in person, but make it a little bit more accessible.
What I think, what we learned from this is it was really important to do something in the fall But see, doing it right now is there's course selections from our grade 9, 10, and 11 students. So parents looking for that. Okay, where it's the fall, it was really a lot of grade 8 parents who had come to that. So I think the timing is really good. So with this student success team, if we could split up their team to say, some of you will do fall, some of you will do winter virtually, I think we'll catch as many parents as possible. So I'm thinking more 2 per municipality. Like we do a Burlington, fall, and then a virtual one, okay? One for Oakville and one for Milton and North Halton. I think we do it that way, okay? And I will take that back to Superintendent Del Sordo so that he can work with his team to line them up. One of the things that happened last year, and you're already on this path for next year, is by May last year, we knew what we wanted to do for this year. And this is why we've had so much success this year with getting everything lined up. If we wait to the fall, we're missing that boat. So I think you set us up for some good planning, and even that if anybody knows any presenters they want to bring in, we can start making those contacts now, and then we can line up those dates. Okay, so thank you for that. Great work, subcommittees, amazing.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions? No, okay. So adult faith formation. I know Denise is online. Is there anything to add on
Yeah,
that?
so this has become quite a little beast, to be honest with you. What I've done is I've reached out to Alex Gonzalez. She was a member on CPIC for a long time, and she worked with me when we did adult faith formation, and I'm just waiting to hear back from her. My thought on this, just kind of from the perspective of what to do, is really a presentation. I don't know whether we're going to be able to fit it in this year, but it's more of a storytelling. She's an author now, but she's I believe taken I can't remember, through the diocese, a program in terms of faith formation. And I did go on the diocese, the Hamilton diocese, and look at those programs that you can take. But I thought just a sharing of faith formation from her perspective would be a very interesting topic, because she is a good speaker. And I said she does have that author background, but I haven't been able to make a connection with her. I'm hoping to do that sometime this week. I've sent her a couple of outreach messages. So that's my thought on it right now. I'd have to sort of speak to her more to see if it's possible, even because this has to go through CPIC anyways, if she's going to speak, and dates and other things like that. So I'm open to any ideas or suggestions. And then by doing that, that's sort of I see it as a tiered thing. So it's sort of what are we doing? What journey are we walking? In terms of adult faith formation for our parent communities. And this might just be a jump off, is what I'm thinking. So any thoughts are appreciated.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or thoughts for Denise? Okay, thanks, Denise. Okay, moving on to social media. I don't have a ton to report. I'm going to be putting up the posts for Pathways, for the Pathways presentation this week. It was on my day today, and my day went backwards and upside down and everything. So I'm going to do it tomorrow. And I have the calendar for the upcoming events. So I'll do sort of the general sort of week to half a week in advance, and then a day of reminder. This is what I did for the last one. It seemed to be fine. And I don't have much else to report from social media. Okay, so I assume nobody has any questions for me on that. So moving on to board committees. So mental health.
I feel like that one's supposed to be bullying on the agenda, because mental health is.
I just noticed my name was on it, and I was like, I think that's supposed to be bullying.
That's you.
Okay, so that's me. Okay, so bullying committee met. We met 2 weeks ago. Superintendent Cordero went through a few of the items, just with some of the feedback from how the bullying tool has gone so far this year. He said it does seem to be being used, and also not being misused, or he said when they launched it, they were a little bit concerned they were going to get a lot of reports of so-and-so stole my hat, they're bullying me. And by all accounts, that hasn't been the case. It seems to be being used in the way that it's intended. The principals have been following up with it, and in also like the school climate survey stuff was really useful for them kind of understanding some of the reports that they were getting and helping school communities and all the rest of that. So that all seems to be going as intended, and everybody seemed pretty positive about it. And then just because it's me leading it, so I will say I actually got voted the co-chair of the bullying committee. So I'm now doing that with Trustee Powell. And because I don't take on enough, I'm also chairing the subcommittee for making some new graphics for the bullying committee. Other committees on the board have a number of graphics that they use in a lot of their material, and the bullying committee actually doesn't have anything. So I've been working with Andrea Swindon to start putting some of that together. So we'll be kind of doing that over the second half of this school year. And that's my update. Any questions? No? Perfect. Okay, moving on to Focus on Faith Homeschool Parish Partnership. Did Cherish give us anything for that? I don't think she did. Okay, Journeying with Jesus.
So we had a meeting on February 7th and someone missed the meeting. I don't know how I missed it, but yeah. But I did send them an email. We have something coming up on May 9th. And I have a whole menu that is sent. So I think I should wait till get the summary of the meeting from them. I sent an email, and once I get it, I'll share with you guys. And I'm sorry I missed the meeting.
Okay, mental health for real?
No updates. I think our next meeting is on the 20th.
Okay, regionalized specialized programming, any update?
No updates.
School uniform, I don't think we've done anything. Although, Nancy, I did have a question for you on that. Did McCarthy's accept the contract extension?
It's in process. So I'm not ready to communicate it, but it's in process. Okay? Yes.
Okay, cool.
Definitely.
All right, moving on from that, school year calendar.
Nothing to update other than what Nancy provided in her board update. So we're good.
Okay, so discussion items. We're skipping 6.1, going to 6.2. Draft Council of Chairs agenda. Did you guys get a chance to have a look at it? It's in the agenda package. Andrea's going to put it up now because Andrea's awesome. So the major change on that one, just from the last time that we went through the draft, was we had to change out one of the speakers. So, so the way that we're looking at structuring it now, and it's up behind me now. So we've got just like our regular welcome stuff, the welcome from Marvin and John, the OAFC update from Denise, and then Dr. Collymore is going to do 20 minutes on the school climate survey results and talk to the parents about that. Thomas Burton has a 10-minute presentation slot, and then CETA is going to talk about their roadmap for the human rights and equity roadmap. Sorry, my hesitation was just again, brain going backwards today. In the section 2 at the top there, the CPIC welcome is where we'll go through what we're planning on doing with the toolkit and communicate that we'll be sending the forms for feedback and all the rest of that. And we can reiterate it in the closing as well. Yes, I'm looking at an outdated one, sorry. That's why, that was my hesitation. I was like, I thought we changed this.
That was a change and I can see this talking about it.
Whoop, okay, does anybody have any questions on the plan for council chairs next week, which is virtual?
So during that 3.2, Cherish is going to plug upcoming parent engagement. I'm plugging Let's Connect, and Emily's speaking to the new toolkit that's coming.
You got it.
I'll send this out to everybody.
Okay, so I think that covers everything for that one. Is everybody planning on being at council chairs next week?
Well, virtually.
Virtually, yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, and then the last item is just about, we just wanted to talk about elections, CPIC elections coming up for next year. So as you guys know, it's a 2-year term, so we've got half the seats coming up this year. If I remember correctly, there's 2 Burlington seats, 2 Milton seats, 1 Oakville seat coming up for re-election. So just anybody who kind of started 2 years ago, and in case you don't remember from last year, we did do info sessions that outline this is what CPIC is, this is what we do, this is what the workload is. And then after that virtual session, which is required, so people who nominate themselves but then don't attend that session get nixed from the nomination list. They're not allowed to proceed with their nomination if they don't attend that session. Following that session, they have to sign a declaration that basically says, I attended the session, I understand the workload, I wish to proceed with my nomination. So that's kind of the goal there. So we've got those 5 seats coming up. And I'm just going to throw this out there. If anybody is going to be unable to hit the workload requirement for next year, tell us now so that we can include the seats in next year's or in the upcoming nomination process. And then we don't have to go through the process of what we've done, what we did in December and what we're going through now with having to try to like fill a seat and deal if we're going to leave it vacant. It would just be much more efficient to just have everything filled from September. So something to think about. If you're in that position, you can email me and or Jen and let us know. Coming up with other changes that we want to implement for next year. So right now our bylaw says that if you miss 3 regular meetings, it's grounds to be removed from CPIC. We'll take care of this at the April meeting, but we wanted to kind of put it out there and give anybody a chance to ask questions either now or offline if you prefer. We are going to include subcommittee attendance in that list of 3. So you're going to be required to attend the regular CPIC meetings as well as the Council of Chairs, as well as your subcommittee meetings. Just trying to really make sure that it's not just a handful of people doing the legwork and keeping up with stuff.
And that's up for discussion. That's just
Yeah,
we'd like to propose, and maybe 3 is not the right number at that point, or maybe there's different absences for both, but we'd like there to be some accountability to the subcommittee you're assigned to.
Yes.
So that's something we'd like to discuss in the future. Like Lauren said, we can talk a bit about it today if you'd like, but the point is to just give you some time to reflect about it and think about it and come back for a deeper discussion.
Yeah. And then just adding to that as well, the CPIC meetings will remain in person. You need to be in person. We're going to not have the virtual option for attendance as well, which we've already had that this year. I'm just reiterating it. That obviously doesn't apply to subcommittee meetings. Subcommittee, you can kind of do whatever's going to work best for the subcommittee. And the other change that we had talked about doing for Council of Chairs is actually planning to have all 3 in person. With February, we can kind of just put in that, okay, like if it looks like there's a snowstorm coming, or what if the weather is really crap or whatever, then we can switch it to virtual. But off the bat, just planning to actually have all 3 in person, it just works a lot better for collaboration. We only get the chairs 3 times a year. Let's try to make the best of that time and give them what's actually going to be useful for them. And part of that is actually just doing it in person and getting that engagement. So that was kind of what I wanted to say about sort of how things we're looking to kind of structure things and change things for coming up next year. So I'll kind of open it up to any additional questions or anything.
Just going back to the missing of 3, and it doesn't have to be 3, whatever magic number we decide on, but would it be like if you missed 2 board and 1 sub, like 2 CPIC, 1 sub, or what? Like, is it a combo of 3? Okay, just curious.
Yeah, we can decide how we want to structure that. Like right now, there's no accountability on subcommittees, and we need to add something for subcommittees just to make sure that everybody's doing a fair amount of work. So we could say just leave it at the 3 for the regular CPIC meetings and the Council of Chairs, and then there's an additional requirement. You can only miss 2 of your subcommittees, or whatever number we want to put. We can discuss it as a group, but we want to add something for subcommittees in there to raise the accountability. Okay, any other questions or anything like that? We'll put that as a, I guess, discussion item, action item, because whatever we decide, we have to actually change it in the bylaws. So we'll do that at the next, at the April meeting. We don't have a regular March meeting. So our next meeting, oh, I don't actually have it on the agenda. Andrea, when's our next meeting? I can't remember.
April 15th.
Ish. Okay, April 15th. is the next one. So we'll go through it for that one. And then that way we'll also be able to then communicate it to the nominees for the vacant or coming to be vacant CPIC seats. We can also say like, this is going to be the new attendance requirement. You'll sit on one of these committees, yada, yada, yada. Okay, and I think that covers everything for our meeting. Oh, sorry, Janelle.
I just have a question regarding elections. Do we have that timeline mapped out yet as to when it's happening? Just thinking it might be useful to know that timeline for like plugging it to council, like at our council meetings and stuff, and in our WhatsApp groups.
Okay, perfect. I'm just jotting that down.
I have just a comment on that. Do you maybe want to reword it in terms of like nominations? Because I know when nobody nominated me. I like applied, and I think it may be, yeah, because it's not, yeah, because you think like you think, oh, I can't, nominate myself. The word I think could be tweaked to just to apply or something, because it's not, yeah, you know what I mean? I also,
It does in the detail, but for the people who read a headline.
Just also to add to that, so my understanding is that whatever gets submitted is what gets sent out, not edited, not spell checked, whatever. So in my situation, like I self-nominated myself, like I applied. So I knew what was being submitted. However, when those things come back to us, if 3 people nominated the same person, does that person get to see what other people wrote about them? Because it reads kind of funny, right? Because like person Sally, writes about herself, but then there's 2 other submissions, and I don't know, I wouldn't feel comfortable somebody else nominating me and me not knowing what they're going to say about me, and then it go. So okay. Yeah, and I don't know, and I just think that maybe somewhere in there we should let them know that this is your resume, this is what's going to get published and sent to councils, because I sometimes think people don't realize that, and then they come and I was like, wowzers. So I don't know, maybe we could somehow explain that in the application process, that whatever you submit in this box, that's what's going to go to councils, and that's what they're going to be reading about you in order to make their decision and put the name forward, right? So maybe if we could somehow make that clear to them. And I don't know how you handle the other people submitting stuff about people, but I don't know, for the first time when that happened, I was like, oh, I don't know that I would feel comfortable not knowing what someone else wrote about me.
I think if someone submitted on your behalf, number one, you have to want to accept the nomination anyways, and then you should have a chance to either write your own bio or like, I would think.
Yeah, I was.
My point exactly.
So, okay, so in that situation, just to throw us. Did you?
Sure. In terms of the communication, is there a link to anybody on a personal level? So just call, email me, one of you two, for instance, or Nancy or someone that they can talk to. Because often, I agree, people feel a little intimidated. Almost if they're nominating themselves, they feel it's prideful, or many were raised not to do that. And maybe that would help too. The other part is then you can have those important conversations about, okay, just to be honest, we've had, there is a commitment that you need to be able to exhibit, and it's not, you're not going to pull a muscle generally, but it is time committing, and I think that's important. They can ask those questions around it. And what's the timeline? Anything else I need to know? Maybe you have that already. I just thought some people like that little side conversation. And if your family is the one that's nominating you, you got trouble. If your kids are saying how many hours you're going to be out of the house for them, that's not good.
Yeah, that's easy enough to include. If you have questions before proceeding with your nomination, you want to ask some questions, just email CPIC, and Jen and I will pick it up and we'll go from there. I think, if we might need to have a bit of a process kind of laid out for how it works if somebody else nominates you. Because like you said, like if somebody nominates you, like that person has to accept the nomination. And then I think just for reading the bios, I think it should just be the person submits their own bio. So if they're going to accept the nomination, they just write their bio and submit it as is, and maybe not using the ones that get sent by other people. Yeah. And then I think it also reads more fairly, because like, I don't know, I just find when I'm reading them, it's like if somebody's got 4 nominations, you're kind of almost by default gonna look more at them and be like, oh, like they have, their bio takes up the entire page and everybody else takes up 3 lines. It doesn't necessarily make them the most qualified. So I think trying to maybe keep it a little more even playing field.
Yeah, and
we've
had people who write 2 lines, and then other people who write, because I don't think they understand, this is your sales pitch right here. Yeah. So take your time, do it well, and we're not going to spell check it. So.
Yeah, so I think we can make that a little more clear in the initial nominations that go out.
Meeting offline. We usually do around this time of year.
Yeah.
Just nail down that timeline. We can talk through it.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. All right, so I believe that brings us then to the end of our meeting. Nancy, do you want to do the closing prayer? Anna Maria, perfect. Let's do it.
Please join me in the sign of our faith. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Awesome. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone.